to talk about how to set up a light manufacturing business here in Africa and how incredibly straightforward and I might say easy it has become to set up your business here in Africa and make good money. So what I love about this new era that we're in, guys, is access to information. Access to information. There's so much information out there that I'm sitting over here in my village in Africa and I'm watching content from this guy called Vaneda. Vaneda, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. And this gentleman is in the United States. And I encourage you guys to do the same thing, is to start consuming content from all over the world. There's probably some guy in Australia that's probably teaching how to set up something. There's probably somebody in New Zealand that is teaching something on YouTube here. There's somebody in Ghana that's teaching here on YouTube about how to do something, how to set up a business, a low-cost business. There's so many channels now here on YouTube that are teaching people how to set up businesses with not a whole lot of money. In this video, I want to talk about why I truly believe light manufacturing will be very profitable here in Africa. Very profitable. Even more than relying on China. Because there's certain things that are happening in the global market. Let me explain to you what those are. Then I'll play this video and I'm going to react to it. There's so many things that are happening in the global market, which are the Chinese are getting richer. So what's happened for decades, for at least 25 years, is that the Chinese have been getting rich off of producing goods for the Americans. So now the Chinese want to get paid more. And it's going to be quite expensive to run a manufacturing plant or factory over there in China in the next 10 years, if it's not already. In fact, there's certain parts of China right now that it's too expensive for them to operate factories, such that they're starting to outsource manufacturing to places like Ethiopia, here in Tanzania, where I'm at. They are exporting their equipment or bringing their equipment over here, setting up manufacturing plants, because they know that they can cut their costs by even half. That's the capitalism game. The Chinese have learned what the Americans taught them. So it's like a full circle now. So it started with the Americans paying the Chinese to produce their cheap goods. Now the Chinese getting rich, it's getting too expensive. If the worker wanted, let's say, to get paid $5 an hour 10 years ago, now that worker is demanding $20 an hour because they see you getting rich off of their sweat. They're like, nah, for me to do this work, I need $20 an hour. That's what the Chinese are saying. So, in the name of capitalism, the game that the Americans invented and perfected, the Chinese said, I bet. You don't want to do the job for $5? Guess what? Umfumfu over there. But I just made up that word, that name. Umfumfu over there in Africa would do it for $3. And guess what? You give him Umfumfu $3 an hour. You give him like a 10-hour shift. He's happy with that. He'll feed his family. $30 for the day? What? There are Africans here who will be happy to just make like $10. They're happy a day. They're happy to make that. You live good. You live good. If you're making $10 a day, you don't have dependents, you're a single man, you're just hustling. $10 is plenty. I'm telling you right now. And then maybe you're not living a luxurious lifestyle. So that means, you can eat cheap. Because food here is super cheap and it's really good and delicious. So the Chinese know this. When they come to the Chinese, when they come over here to Africa, they know all these things. They know that, hey, if they move their plant over there, the manufacturing plant from, let's say, outskirts of Guangzhou, wherever it is, that is costing them crazy amounts of money, ship it and move it over here to Tanzania or to Ethiopia, or even to Zimbabwe, for example. But mostly they do Ethiopia and Tanzania because the populations are so massive here. And the governments here will give them incentives to, to build these plants so that they can create jobs. What I'm saying is this. The Chinese have perfected when it comes to mass production of cheap goods that are in demand by the masses. What the Chinese are not so good at is the light manufacturing. Light manufacturing for those goods and products that are slightly more high end, that the growing middle class here in Africa actually need. So let me play this video, and then I'll play another video, and then I'll explain to you how to go about this strategy, how to go about this.
With this setup right here, we're able to make over 1,000 units a day out of our garage, and it only cost us $600 to get it set up.
Isn't that crazy? So let's say maybe $1,000. You bet $1,000. You watch this guy's video. You learn all the equipment that is needed. Then you go over there to China, or you place an order from China. It gets shipped to your country. You set it up in your own garage at home in Africa, in your village. Set it up in your village. Set up a solar. Your costs are almost nothing. You hire the locals. They'll be happy to have jobs. Of course, you won't pay them $3. At least pay them $5 an hour, at least. And you train them up on this process, and it's pretty easy.
Today, I'm gonna walk you through all of it. Like all manufacturing jobs, everything starts with a giant drum of raw materials. This is a 55-gallon drum that we get raw materials in, and these are 35-gallon drums that we store the material in. How do we mix it, you might ask? 5-gallon buckets and a drill press. Let me show you. This bad boy right here is an old school Harbor Freight drill press. I can put a 5-gallon bucket on the stand, chuck in the mixing bit, turn it on to get my stuff mixed up like that. Once everything's mixed up on the drill press, we dump it all in the storage tank so that it can be pumped out by our piston filler. Let me show you how that works.
I'm not going to show you the whole video, but look at the cost of the equipment. And this is, I think he's buying this from Home Depot. I can tell from this right here. Let me make sure it's Home Depot. Yeah, it is Home Depot. I can tell. Home Depot's orange because I used to shop on Home Depot. If he's buying this equipment for $322, there's a high probability, there's a high chance that if you were to order this same equipment directly from China to come to Africa, you can probably get it for $200. And they just copy the same exact process that he's showing right here. Set up the whole system and just stay focused and dedicated. You'll win. So let me jump to what the product he's producing is. Here, I think he's just showing us what the cost of the equipment is, labeling, as you can see, how he prints out his labels. Check this out. Let me just play here.
Indicator says we're done. And there you have it. A labeled jar of finished product.
Yep, labeled jar of finished product. And you can do this with a lot of these products that are in high demand. For example, here in Africa, there's the population is really young, very young. There's a guy who became a billionaire. He's passed away here in Tanzania. Rest in peace to him. He started off, he got rich by selling pens. He was producing pens for kids to go to school, to use in school. And he branded them. Him and his wife, he branded them. That's how he got rich. Because he figured out there was a need in the market for something as basic as a pen. Because the government had made it so difficult and so expensive to import these things. So he decided, let me just set up my own light manufacturing plant and start producing these pens for cheap. And that's how he got rich. He went from school to school selling pens. That's all he did. That was his hustle. What I'm saying is Africa, if you come into this market, you know exactly what niche you're getting into. You can completely dominate. And it's not gonna cost you a whole lot of money like that. Because the competition here is not that crazy. And I'll show you how to navigate and how to do your research. Let me play another video.
Let me ask you a simple question. Why are we still importing toilet paper in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, I have the same question too. By the way, go subscribe to this channel as well. I know there are plenty of other channels similar to this one that are talking about business here in Africa. Go subscribe to all of them, so that at least you can be in the mindset to have the confidence that this is possible. Go subscribe to that American guy as well. Go subscribe to a lot of those guys like that all over the world and learn what niches you want to get into, so that you are armed with enough information. You know exactly what kind of equipment makes sense for you to buy if you want to get into this manufacturing business. Let me play a couple of more seconds of it, then I'll tell you how to go about your research.
Every family needs it. Every business uses it. And in times of crisis, toilet paper becomes gold. But what if I told you that for the price of that second-hand car, you could start a toilet paper factory right here in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, this is fantastic. For the ladies, listen, there's something that I'm seeing in the marketplace, which is the need for female hygiene products. Female hygiene products that are biodegradable, that are inexpensive. Because a lot of the female hygiene products here in Africa, they're imported and they're very expensive. So the average person cannot afford, the average lady, cannot afford some of these brands that are being imported. So if you were to take this same concept where you are producing female hygiene products versus toilet paper, and then you brand it yourself, you don't need a big plant. You can start up pretty small, cater to just one city. Then you just grow from there. At the end of the day, everything comes down to how you promote it and how you market it right here on this phone, on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Because people here are on these platforms. How do I know this? The people that work for me, my domestic workers, they're on it, and they don't make very much. They came from the village like a couple of months ago, but they know what's going on. They're in the mix. And those will be your customers eventually, because, Africa has a growing middle class. There are people here who have money, but they're not being served. Because everybody's trying to go for the high-end market only. But there's a need when you come into the light manufacturing, there's a need for serving the masses by providing essentials. Female hygiene products are essentials. And you're going to get recurring customers that way. That's what I love about that niche. Would I get into that niche? I don't think so. But if you're interested in that niche, schedule time. I'll put a link in the description of this video. Let's talk about it. I can give you so much game. Who's currently doing it? How to get ahead of the competition? Yeah, just because there's people that are doing it here does not mean you can't come in and completely get to the top very fast. You can. I know what they're not doing. I can teach you everything that they're not doing, and so you can get to the next level. That's the whole point of this channel. So I won't play the whole video here. Please go watch. If you want to get into light manufacturing, go watch a lot of this content. Maybe let me mute it, and I'll tell you exactly how to go about doing your research. As this video is playing, what I want you guys to also do is utilize ChatGPT. I went to ChatGPT. If I still have it open here. There you go. I went to ChatGPT here. Essentially what I'm trying to do, I am trying to ask ChatGPT to give me some ideas of some of the products that the Zambian government will allow me to import. If I was to do business in Zambia, let us say. I'm using Zambia as a market, as an example. If you're interested in doing business in Zambia, you utilize ChatGPT because you can ask ChatGPT to tell you which goods have high tariffs to import into Zambia. And based on that logic, you know that most of the imported goods that will be coming because of those high tariffs are going to be super expensive. That means if you start manufacturing those things domestically, yes, there'll be a small investment up front, right? Maybe a couple of thousand, maybe $5,000 all in. You know that once you start producing your own locally, you can outcompete the competition that is imported because of those high tariffs. So do research on ChatGPT to get you to the next level. If you're interested in working with the best, this means that you're ready to jumpstart your business in light manufacturing. Maybe you have some ideas on what niches make sense for you. I have some great ideas on some niches you should get into and to completely dominate. And if you need some help with the research phase, I'm your guy. If you need some help when it comes to starting, setting up costs, and all this stuff, I'm your guy. Also, if you're already in the light industry business and you need to get to the next level, maybe you don't know why your sales are not doing well. Well, I'll tell you why your sales are not doing well, because you're not doing something right. There's something you're not doing. And I know exactly what you're not doing if I talk to you. One of those things is probably like your marketing game is off, because you don't know. You don't know what it is that you're not doing. And sometimes it takes an outsider to see the bigger picture. And I'm the outsider to point to you what the bigger picture is to get you to the next level. So if you schedule time, this is a paid consultation. There's nothing for free. If you want anything for free, just go watch the free content. But when you schedule time with me, you're ready to work with the best. You're ready to take things to the next level. All right? Schedule time. Talk to you soon. Blessed.